Mr. Albrecht.
Here.
Ms. Smiley Robertson.
Here.
Mr. Schaefer.
Here.
Mr. Putoff.
Here.
Mr. Sextro.
Here.
Ms. McDaniel is absent.
Ms. McDaniel is excused. She got caught on an airplane that was supposed to land at 4 o'clock, and instead it's landing at 9:30 tonight.
Southwest, I think.
She had no control. So I told her, have fun. Have fun. The first thing is the consent calendar. The minutes have been previously distributed. Is there any additions, corrections, or changes? May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Albrecht.
Yes.
Mr. Sextro.
Yes.
Mr. Putoff.
Yes.
Smiley Robertson.
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer.
Yes.
Okay. Now we'll have the report of the Finance Committee.
Yeah, Mayor, some encouraging news, as long as it stays the course, but tax receipts for September 21 were higher than those from last year. So that was, again, not necessarily a trend, but a good sign. For the month, total receipts exceeded total expenditures by about $243,000. Year-to-date receipts exceed expenditures $621,000. So again, although we are behind our budgeted amount for revenue, we are still in the black as to expenses.
Spending less.
Yes. I think everybody's aware we have the ordinance to accept the property tax budget that has been approved by Hamilton County. Recreation, I had 9 new 8th grade members attend the open house, and the Rec Commission is currently evaluating fee increases that were last increased a little over 15 years ago. So it's due for that review. Hopefully we'll have something more concrete in the next month or so. Gorman Farm, they had a phenomenal turnout for row by row. 6,500 people attended the festival over the 2 days. Receipts were just under $78,000. Comparing it apples to apples, in 2018, we had 6,800 with just about 80,000. So almost the same as 2018. If you remember, 2019, we didn't have any sunflowers. And then, of course, COVID from 2020. So
If they ever get 2 good days in a row, they're going to have 10,000 people.
it was a phenomenal Saturday. Rained out a little bit on Sunday, but great turnout for a row by row. Sunflower Festival. Leaf bags, just a warning for those who still have not picked up their leaf bags. Tomorrow, between 1 and 7 is the last time to be able to pick them up this year. So everybody needs to get out if they still have not picked their leaf bags up. The contractor expects to have all the pipe in the ground on Glendale Milford Road the week of the 18th, so next week. If anybody's driven by, they are actually connecting right behind the Cultural Arts Center. They're turning it from Glendale Milford Road into the field there, and it looks like they're starting to connect that. So hopefully, a lot of that's going to be completed here in the next several days. And then after that, they will be repaving curb to curb the entire Glendale Milford Road.
What else is a report on that?
They actually, I spoke to the repaving crew this morning. They repaved both sides from Sharondale up to Woodley today, this afternoon. And they did not do from Woodley to Plainfield. His understanding was there was some kind of an issue still up under the pavement that they needed to solve before they could do that last segment. But they did do. They were actually right in front of my driveway when I went to leave for the meeting. I cut through the field to get to the other driveway to get out to come to the meeting.
So all good news that construction and that big headache will be completing in the very near future.
And they say that Evendale Commons are supposed to be done there by the end of October also, and have it repaved.
the last is for those who are driving south on Reading Road into Reading. We've also had the construction of the new bridge down there in front of Central Tool. That is scheduled to be completed by the end of October. So by the end of October, we should have easy transportation around the village. That's all I have there.
Any questions or comments? Not? Go to the police and fire report.
Okay. Let me start with fire. Everyone will be pleased to know that our 2 new hires have caught on very quickly, and so they've been moved from duty shift to orientation to full duty status as lone medics in the back of ambulances, so we hired the right people.
It's a good hiring committee.
Good people. The department is applying for a number of grants from the Ambulance Relief Act, FEMA, Community Revitalization, AFG, and BRIC grants in hopes of recovering lost revenue from ambulance billing, building upgrades, building remodeling, and updating equipment. So we'll know more later on that. For a landmark update, IBI conducted an inspection and found some issues that require repairs that have to be done before fire code violations can be addressed. For a COVID update, there are currently 4 active cases in the village. That brings the total to 202 since March of last year. Also, the department will be transitioning to a new data management software system because system we now use will no longer be supported. And the department is trying to find us a solution that's not going to be as expensive as going with the new parent company who's taking over the software, provision of the software that no longer will be supported. And lastly, on the fire side, fire department side, we did recognize fallen firefighters. The campus was lit up in red through, well, a little beyond October 2nd, but there was a short ceremony on October 2nd, and a dinner was held for the fire department as well as members of their family. On the police, just to let you know in advance that in the capital budget, there will be, well, for the capital budgets, but it will be in this year when we do appropriation in December, a need for 2 cars. The committee concurred with the chief's recommendation that we have a couple of cars, one that needs repairs that are more expensive than it's worth us putting those repairs in, and another car we need to take out of service. So in order for us to have those cruisers available to us when we need them next year, we need to appropriate for that in December of this year. So just wanted to give you a heads up about that. The department also participated in workplace violence discussions with GE's upper management to discuss their needs and our capabilities. It was a very productive session. We hadn't done that in a couple of years, so it was appropriate to do so now. And I think that's it for the police department. Cultural arts, you may have noticed that the photography exhibit opened on Sunday, and if you look along the pool fencing, you will see the photography exhibit. The awards ceremony should have taken place this past Sunday. Also, Tri-County Players will be offering a presentation of 4 old broads to be presented on Fridays and Saturdays, the 15th, 16th, 22nd, and 23rd at 8 p.m., and on Sunday, October 17th and 24th at 3 p.m. Tickets are $15. You can find out that information where to get them by looking on Cultural Arts website. Likewise, Playhouse in the Park is offering a production of Snow White as a virtual production, and information on how to get tickets for that is also on the website. Wine tasting is sold out in October. Art kits, we sold 21 last month, most ever sold in a month. So good news there. Every day but Monday, the original play, there were 45 tickets sold for 3 performances. The playwright was really considered that to be a really good showing. So cultural arts is booming. Did want to let everybody know that September Art Ventures was canceled. We did not have the minimum attendance required. First time that's happened to us there. And I didn't know, Mayor, if you were speaking to the elevator meeting in your report.
Yeah, I was gonna have.
Okay, so I'll leave that go. Planning and zoning, you'll notice there's an ordinance, will be on the agenda for a lot split for GE for the land that abuts Cooper Road and Reading Road intersection. This is intended solely as to provide a private road access to property that will be turned over to the port for economic development purposes. Demolition permit for the Homer's Restaurant building was issued, and I don't believe demolition has started. I drive past it every day. It has not. Do we know where we are with that?
Well, as I understand it, they applied for a permit. Andrew, is that correct? But they have not moved on it, and you have been told by Aurora that they don't know when they're gonna get to it. I suspect somebody else might have a hand in that, and I think we're gonna have to do something else with it.
Okay. Crepe World, the creperie and coffee shop will open in a vacant space between Subway and Great Clips on Reddick Road. They received a conditional permit from Planning Commission at their September meeting. And the permit for interior renovations at the former Union Hall, now known as Soils and Stars, or Stars and Soil, which one? Soil and Stars?
I think.
Soil and Stars, okay.
Soil and space, you mean?
Stars, okay. So their permit for renovations was approved and expect those to begin soon. The Mill Creek Alliance is finishing up a $350,000 project within the Mill Creek west of Exxon Avenue. The purpose of the project was to reinforce the East Bank, which had become eroded. And the project was paid for by a Clean Ohio grant and a sizable donation from Mr. Warmier. And last is that the Evendale charging station project will be delayed as one of the manufacturers of our proposed charging units has ceased all North American operations. So we have to find another vendor for that. One more other thing, I'm sorry, I wanted to mention that Edders has been sold. And for the foreseeable future, it will remain in business, the business that's there, but I just wanted to inform the other members of council.
It's gonna stay the same.
It's going to stay the same. Mhm. That's my report.
Any questions, comments? I have a couple of things. As councilperson said, owners are still there, and they're gonna have to do something about that. We did have a meeting with the architects and with Ms. Gordon, and last week, we presented some final plans. Unfortunately, the plans still run between $900,000 and $1 million to put an elevator in the building. But we picked one that we thought was the best between us and the architects. But we're gonna come back to the planning commission or to our Cultural Arts Center commission, and also the council with the final thing, the drawings when they get done, will be back to council. But it's still $1 million, so Councilman Schaefer has some spare change in his pocket. I'd like to accept it.
Oh, certainly. I'll contribute all the spare change I have.
Good.
What a guy.
A little bit a week helps. House Bill 175, I've mentioned before, is House and is on its way to the Senate. I understand from Representative Seitz that it has, quote, legs. This is the thing that would take control away from the EPA and return it to local governments. And this affects Arrow Hub because there's a claim of a stream over there, which nobody can find. You couldn't even float a boat in it that has a paper boat. And if that happens, it will be a help for Arrow Hub. The zoning board has an application for a 70-foot sign over on Glen Mufford Road. Huge sign. And that's now before the Board of Zoning Appeals for adjudication. They obviously need a variance to put up that sign.
Where exactly is that going?
It's on the UAW property.
Teamsters.
Right on I-75.
The Teamsters property.
Yeah, Teamsters property.
And Oak Road, where Oak Road
Yeah,
goes up to the interstate
yeah.
on the east side.
It used to cross over and then they cut it off. And, well, can you elucidate a little bit on it?
Sure, Mayor. So yes, there is a billboard company out of Sydney, Ohio, that's looking to establish a 1,200 square foot, 70-foot tall, dual-faced digital billboard on the Teamsters property. They are required to come before the Board of Zoning Appeals for, in essence, two variances, one for the height and one for the size. Along I-75, we allow business owners or property owners along I-75 to have a second sign oriented towards the highway specifically. They currently have a single sign in the front yard, and it appears to meet the zoning requirements, which are is a max 35 feet tall and 200 square feet. This would be a second sign that obviously would exceed those maximum allowances. So because of that, they're required to do variance.
But they say you can put Village of Evendale on it and advertise on it.
Mr. Burke, do we have any considerations as to the legalities? I know sometimes with cell towers and other things, we don't have, a lot of say if somebody is going to come in and put some of these very overwhelming type of structures. Are we able to, if it came to that point, say no to a billboard?
I believe the answer is yes. There is a portion of our zoning code, and this is true with most sign codes right now, that is unconstitutional and not enforceable. And that's a provision that suggests that there can't be anything on signs other than to advertise the site where they are located. There's a relatively recent Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals decision which says that's against the First Amendment. So that issue is out of this picture. But we still have the right to deal with size and height. And those issues will be in front of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Thank you.
Yes.
The town meeting came back tonight, there's 9 people who signed up so far. We probably get a few more maybe a week, but if the pace of attendees continues that low, we're not going to set up a big deal over in the recreation center. We'll just have it right here in the council chambers. 15 or 20 people come and spread around here.
Hasn't that traditionally been a late sign-up activity?
Kim says it's also been a little higher by this time.
Yeah, but you were offering a meal too.
Well, usually we have some kind of program and, to drive interest and have a meal and so forth.
And I think everybody wanted to come hear us speak. Now we know the truth.
And just want to bring up that community officials night is for Princeton High School. It's October 22nd, and you're all invited to come over there, and probably have an invite in your email box to come over and participate in community officials night. Anyone have any other comments or questions?
I'd just like to remind everybody that the second Saturday of each month, we'll be doing it in November and December, is the cleanup day at the Griffin Family Nature Preserve. So any and all volunteers are very welcome. We had 4 of us there this past weekend, so any help would be greatly appreciated. And so we'll be doing that again in November and December.
8 to noon.
From 8 to noon, yes, thank you.
Okay, let's go to the
Mayor,
ordinances.
Mayor, I'm sorry, one other thing I forgot to mention. We are rescheduling November's committee meeting from the Tuesday to the Thursday because of Election Day. Pre-count, yeah, the committee meetings.
So the Thursday
Thursday
after election.
Election day.
So it would be the Thursday before council meeting.
Correct.
Barb, we'll do the same. We didn't address it at our meeting, but
Same time?
same time.
Same time. Okay.
Okay, let's go to the ordinances. First, we have 21-68. I'd like permission to read by title only.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Ordinance making an appointment to the Recreation Commission in the Village of Evendale and declaring it as an emergency. I'd like a motion to suspend the second and third reading of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
I'd like a motion to adopt the emergency clause in the ordinance.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
I'd like a motion to adopt the ordinance as an emergency.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
And now declare ordinance 21-68 adopted as an emergency. Next, we have ordinance 21-69. I'd like permission to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. McDaniel? I'm sorry, Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to hire Joseph Asbrock as a part-time general labor equipment operator in the service department and declaring it as an emergency. I make a motion to suspend the second and third reading of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
And I make a motion to adopt the emergency clause of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second?
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Now I need a motion to adopt the ordinance as an emergency.
So moved?
Second.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
And now declare ordinance 21-69 adopted as an emergency. And I might say, we're getting a great employee, he's a great policeman, he's going to be a great person, and that service department as well. Next is ordinance 21-70, I'd like to read it, I'd like permission to read it by title only.
So moved?
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
An ordinance approving an additional appropriation in the Arrowhead TIP fund for change orders and declaring it as an emergency. I'd like a motion to suspend the second and third reading of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
And I'd like a adopt the emergency clause of the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
And I'd like a motion to adopt the ordinance as an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
I declare ordinance 21-70 adopted as an emergency. Next is ordinance 21-71. I need permission to read it by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Ordinance approving a subdivision plat providing for the division of property at 10,485 Reading Road, currently identified as parcel 61-0020-0061, and declaring it as an emergency. Gentleman is here from the Port Authority. If you have any questions, but this is the lot at the end of Cooper Road on Reading Road, and the Port Authority has purchased it from General Electric to give them access to the lot that they previously had purchased from Formosa. Okay, may I have a motion to suspend the second and third reading of the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
May I have a motion to adopt the emergency clause of the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Now I need a motion to adopt the ordinance as an emergency.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
I now declare ordinance 21-71 adopted as an emergency. Next is resolution 21-02, and I need permission to read it by title only.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
A resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county. Can I have a motion to suspend the second and third reading of the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Now declare resolution 21-02 adopted. Is there any other business to come before council tonight? May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Albrecht?
Yes.
Mr. Sextro?
Yes.
Mr. Putoff?
Yes.
Ms. Smiley Robertson?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Motion adjourned.